Good morning, everybody. You're tuned in to Crackcore. Thank you for tuning in today. Today is the 14th of January, Saturday the 14th. How is everybody today? How's everybody doing? I hope y'all are doing good. Here in the UK, things are relatively, they're relatively quiet at the minute with regards to what's going on globally. I think this is the calm before the storm. We've said that before. So today I'm going to be talking about something along the lines of revolution. Now, when I say revolution, what I mean is the revolution, the only revolution that really matters, that really counts. And that's the revolution of self. Self with a capital S. He's back on the lowercase and capitals again. I like it. You know what? I like it. It does get across, doesn't it, the importance of what it is you're trying to say. So yes, the capital S, self, the revolution of self. Now, it reminds me a little bit of a Hatebreed song called Supremacy. Now, it got a lot of bad press because it had the word supremacy. In fact, it was the title track to the album, Supremacy. A lot of people slated it, saying that they were all about white supremacy and stuff because they're a hardcore band, shaven head. You know, the main singer, Jamie Jaster's got a shaven head. You know, they've got to be fucking racist, haven't they? How dare they make a song called Supremacy? And, you know, ultimately it's about the supremacy of yourself. The chorus is supremacy of mind, body, spirit, supremacy of self, basically. I'm paraphrasing to get through it. But you see, that's what this is about. It's having supremacy of yourself. For want of another word, sovereignty over yourself. That seems to be the word currently that people tend to use. It's what I've been using, and it should be the word that we use. The term sovereign should not be solely used for those who impose power over others, because that's the way it's been seen, and I think that's why a lot of people are a bit standoffish with the term, because they don't view it in the way that they should view it. As a matter of fact, they view it as it being a outside force, like, say, for instance, a ruling family. You know, these self-appointed oligarchs that choose to have this divine right, which is a load of bollocks, to rule over everybody else. Now, that's how they use the term sovereign. They say, "Your sovereign queen, etc.," or "Your sovereign king so-and-so." And that's why the perception for the word, at least in our modern day, has been diluted and fucking transmuted into what it is. Or at least what it's been viewed as. However, sovereign is actually about power. Of course it is. But it's about personal power. You know, these people consider themselves sovereign. Everybody calls them the sovereign. And look at the power they have. Words are energy, and energy means something. Quite simply. So, if you start calling yourself sovereign, imagine the energy that will shift within you. Simple. And if other people see you as sovereign, because you always relate to yourself as such, and you relate to other people as sovereign, because that's the way you see them, and so you should, then ultimately, imagine the power shift that the world will have. It's a very simple, quiet revolution that we need to have, the revolution of self. it simply is about self-empowerment, because you see, that's it. It's about self-empowerment. And you see, it's a bit of a paradox in its own right, because through self-empowerment you realize that you are actually the one with the power, and the hard lesson to learn is that these other people have had power over you quite simply because you have given it to them. You gave your personal power away, which is why it is the very first step in regaining, power over these oligarchs, which is why it's the very first step in revolution, is the revolution of self, because there can be no global or mass revolution without first there being a revolution of the self. That is as simple as it gets. It should at this point be obvious. The revolution of self is the only revolution you need to worry about. Everything else will take care of itself, considering we all are microcosmic in nature to the greater macro. Everything works off everything else. So you deal with yourself. This is what I said in the other video that I did the other week. You deal with yourself. You worry about you, and that will help the world. Again, it's a paradox. Doesn't seem to work until you start understanding why you feel the way you do, why you think the way you do, and ultimately how that's come about. Words, energy, perception, it's all being used against you from birth. From birth. So ultimately, you're taught on a daily basis that you have no power, that you have to give it away. In fact, there's nothing to give away if you've got no power. That's what you're told to perceive is real. It's never been more wrong. Ask yourself why these people have always needed public favor to do what they need to do. Like, look at the Nazi regime. It's an easy reference here, okay? The disgusting fascist Nazi regime. Look at all of these horrible people that dealt with the propaganda. Goebbels, Goering, all these fucking... Anyway. All of these horrible people. We all give them so much credit, don't we? We all kind of put them on this little evil pedestal, don't we? And give them ill-gotten credit. They deserve none. Absolutely none. Because we all think that they had this power over us. We talk about propaganda like it's a fucking power, when actually they're using our own power against us. They need to gain public favour towards gassing millions of people to death. Quite simply because without that public favour, they're unable to do so. Which means, by design, the people are those with the power. They actually have zero power. Because if they had the power, they could do it without public favour, couldn't they? That much is obvious. Is it not obvious? If they didn't need us and our power, if they didn't need our sovereignty, well, they wouldn't ask for it. They wouldn't go to such lengths to gain it. They wouldn't have to have espionage and subterfuge, and all these cloak and dagger tactics that they use to get away with whatever they're doing. Because if it was as easy as that, if they could just fucking wave their evil little magic wand and get away with whatever they wanted to get away with, well, then they would, because it's easier And these people don't want it the hard way. That's why they manipulate other people to get what they want. They're going about it in the easiest possible way they can. But it's still a lot of effort. You try manipulating a whole planet of people. It takes orchestration on a mass level. So if they're having to go to that level of effort, and that's still the easiest way out for them, well, that just goes to show you how powerful you really are. They rely on mass panic. They rely on mass social control, which is why everything over the last few years has been geared towards mass social control. Can you imagine? You look at what's happened, and absolutely everything was about mass social control. It wasn't about anything else. I'm not going to go into it because I'll get fucking banned again. But there you go, you see. We'll take away your platforms. Mass social control. If you say what we don't want you to say, we'll take away your platform. Mass social control. It's obvious. You can't say what you want to say. You can't say the truth. You can't even say what your opinion is, whether it be truth or not, simply because they don't want it out there. Mass social control. Absolutely everything in this fucking world that we live is about mass social control. Now, if you didn't need mass social control, why would you be going so hard at getting it? You know, just think about it. So let's just fucking flip it. Let's just reverse it. Let's just say you're a person that requires mass social control. Why? Why would you need it? Because if you're all powerful, you wouldn't, would you? Think about it. Let's just make it simple. Let's turn this into physical strength here, not mental strength. You know, we're not talking about fucking David and the Goliath here. Let's just say you've got a competition of physical strength. You've got a guy that can lift 300 kilos off the ground, deadlift. And you've got a guy that can lift 100 kilos. Would there be a competition? No. You'd say, what's the fucking point? I can't beat this guy. He's physically stronger than me, and this is a competition of physical strength. There's no competition, you wouldn't even get involved. So if they didn't need, so this is my point. Let's just say that it was a lie, and that guy said he could lift 300 kilos, but he couldn't. Then there's a competition, because now he's got to prove it. So ultimately, these people wouldn't be going out for this if they didn't need it. If they had the physical strength to overtake us without our consent, without our power, without our blind acquiescence into believing that there is no fucking competition here, well then they wouldn't even enter the competition. They'd just fucking do it. They'd say, fuck it, we're not even gonna bother with these mice. You know? They call us things like useless eaters. How dare they? How very dare they? We're the fabric of their world. We are those that manufacture what it is that they require. Whether they wear Primark or not, they're certainly getting rich from the money that those cheap threads make, aren't they? Everything that's bought or sold, no matter what type of quality it is or where you buy it from, the money gets kicked upwards to somewhere, to someone. Somebody is getting wealth somewhere, and that's what this is about. It's about control, power, money, all of these things. It's all part of the same shit game. It's all lumped into one because it all gives them power regardless. And this is the thing. We could go deep into the web of all these different facets of the control grid that we're a part of. But that's not the point of this. The point of this video is self-empowerment. And I'm just trying to highlight here how your power has been taken away from you so you can understand that without your power, they are powerless. And those who seek to have power over other people, quite simply, desire others to be powerless. That is as simple as it gets. So just realize and recognize your own power is what I would say. Just accept in this very moment that you are all powerful. You simply must be, considering the efforts that go against you having any. The efforts that go to having your favoured opinion. If somebody doesn't care about your opinion, if they can do what they want without it, then they do, don't they? They require the mass, the majority opinion. It's what voting's about. It's all a fucking game and a facade, that side of things. But it ultimately gives them power because now they've got the people over a barrel saying, well, you voted for it, we voted for it, it's all our fault, etc., etc., putting people into shame. Just please hear the words I'm saying and just fucking understand that you are an extremely powerful individual. Whoever is listening to this, you're an extremely powerful individual. You have the power to change your own life and to change the world based on what it is you are willing to accept and how you view yourself. If you view yourself as weak, well then you are. Because your perception of yourself is where your own personal power will come from. Hence, your perception of yourself is being attacked. Everybody's in a box these days. Everybody's fighting amongst ourselves, It's all a fucking game to take away your own personal power, to deliver you from your own personal seat of sovereignty. And on that note, I feel as though I've said enough on this. Just accept that you are personally sovereign. Look up the word sovereign. Just go and look it up. It takes fucking 10 seconds to type it into Google. Meaning of the word sovereign. And just recognize that's what you are. And if it turns out that the only reference to this word you can find is regarding, certain royal oligarchic families, then look a little deeper and look for the true meaning, or take that out of the sentence and replace your name with wherever these people are mentioned. Because that's what it is. There is no divine right to rule. Your energy, your power comes from the words you use to explain yourself. This universe, your life, your existence is a mirror of yourself, and you'll only get what it is you expect. You'll only get what it is you'll only get to the extent of which you're able to accept. If you're willing to accept nothing less than this point, well then you'll get nothing less than that point. So raise your expectancies of the world around you and of yourself. And you just watch the world change. If we all do this, if we all just take a moment, take ourselves back, and it starts with saying so. I take myself back. I take back my own personal sovereignty. I am sovereign. I am no longer ruled. I rule myself. Say these words, all these types of things that empower you as an individual, and you watch yourself change. how you feel and how you perceive yourself in the world around you, and things will start to change. It's very simple. And on that note, I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. This is Cragcore signing off. Peace.